Beneath the blistering sky of southern Iraq, the sands whisper names older than memory. Dr. Elena Vasari stands at the mouth of a sinkhole revealed by last night's storm, a fracture in time itself. The camera drifts around her as the wind howls across the ruins of Ur, carrying a scent of dust and rain and something older, metallic, almost electric. "This isn't Sumerian," she murmurs, brushing her glove across a glyph glowing faintly in the dawn. Professor Karim approaches, his voice trembling with reverence and fear. "You should not have come here, Elena. The locals call this place Ursetu Namu, the gate of the dead gods." But the lens lingers on her eyes, drawn deeper by the allure of forbidden truth. As the first stone slab shifts under their hands, a gust rises from below. Not air, but breath, and the world seems to inhale. The past is waking. The air below the sinkhole thickens as Elena descends first, her voice echoing against stone that hums faintly like an ancient heart. Jonas follows, camera light slicing through the dark, capturing dust motes that move like constellations suspended in silence. Karim lingers at the edge, whispering a verse from the Enuma Elish, invoking protection for those who trespass beneath the earth. Layla tightens the rope around the anchor spike, her jaw tense, her eyes never leaving the abyss. As Elena's boots touch the first ledge, carvings emerge, reliefs of winged giants bowing before smaller, robed figures. "They weren't gods," she murmurs. "They were rulers, pretending to be gods." But Karim's voice drifts down. "Or perhaps gods pretending to be rulers." The torchlight flickers. For an instant, one of the carved eyes glints, alive with reflected motion that no one caused. The first chamber exhales a breath of cold air, damp and mineral-rich, smelling of copper and earth. Torches flare as Elena steps forward, their light revealing a floor of obsidian tiles that mirror the figures above. Karim joins her, fingers grazing a wall inscription that spirals inward toward a sunburst symbol, half broken but unmistakable. "The seal of Enlil," he whispers. Jonas circles with his camera, the beam trembling over skeletal remains, their skulls elongated, their hands positioned in prayer. Layla keeps her weapon raised, her footsteps echoing too loudly in the stillness. A low hum reverberates through the chamber, deep and resonant, as if the stone itself remembered the sound of worship. Elena turns to Karim, voice barely audible. "What if this place was never meant to be found?" They move deeper, following the spiral of corridors where murals depict strange exchanges, winged beings offering crystalline orbs to human kings. Jonas mutters theories into his camera, the lens trembling as if the air itself resists being captured. Karim deciphers fragments aloud, his tone slipping between excitement and dread. "They gave us knowledge, metallurgy, writing, the measure of time. But they demanded something in return, our silence." Layla's boots grind on loose stone as she gestures for them to halt. A faint mechanical rhythm thrums beneath their feet, pulsing through the walls. Elena kneels, brushing away centuries of sand to uncover an obsidian doorway sealed with pitch and copper wire. Her whisper cuts through the dark. "Someone sealed this from the inside." The sound comes first, a deep, resonant tone that vibrates through the stone, setting dust to dance in midair. Elena steps closer to the sealed door, drawn by something she cannot name. Karim warns her, his voice cracking. The hymns say those who broke the covenant were swallowed by silence, but she doesn't stop. Her hand, trembling, touches the copper wiring. Instantly, light floods the symbols, snaking outward in veins of dull gold. Jonas gasps, camera shaking as the lens flares. Layla shouts for them to move back, but it's too late. The seal splits down the center with a slow groan, exhaling air colder than death. Beyond, the darkness breathes. A flicker, movement, something vast and unseen shifting in the black. Elena whispers, half in awe, half in terror. We've woken them. The desert night settles heavy over the camp. The dig site glows faintly under floodlights as the team gathers around the opened passage, faces pale in the ghostly dust. Dr. Nadira Al-Karim arrives by jeep, headlights carving through the darkness. Her voice cuts the air. Who authorized this excavation? Elena meets her gaze without flinching. Two scholars divided by belief. Karim interjects softly. You cannot stop what has already begun. From the pit below, a deep pulse rises again. Rhythmic, almost mechanical, like the echo of a colossal heartbeat buried beneath stone. Layla's radio crackles with static. Jonas lowers his camera for the first time, whispering, "It's not recording anymore." The light flickers, then stabilizes. Silence presses against them, a silence that feels alive. By morning, sandstorms veil the horizon. Inside the first chamber, Elena and Karim kneel before the sealed doorway's remnants, sketching inscriptions that now flicker faintly, even without light. Nadira watches from the threshold, arms crossed, eyes sharp with both fear and fascination. You've tampered with something sacred, she says. These warnings predate Sumer itself. Karim, voice reverent, replies, They were not warnings, they were promises. Jonas films silently, the red light of his recorder dimming without command. Layla shifts uneasily, hearing whispers that no one else seems to notice. Elena touches the wall and recoils. Her glove burns with static. The glyphs pulse once, faint but rhythmic, like the beat of something waiting beneath. Karim deciphers fragments aloud as sand sifts through cracks above. The inscription speaks of Enlil's breath, the gift of life and unmaking. Nadira warns him to stop, but he continues, voice trembling as the air grows cold. Elena's torch flickers blue. Jonas steps closer, recording the symbol's strange motion. They seem to shift under his lens, rearranging into new patterns. Layla grips her weapon tighter, whispering, It feels like the room is breathing. A deep vibration rises through the floor, shaking loose ancient dust. Karim looks up, eyes wide. The tomb is not a resting place, he says quietly. It's a prison. The vibrations stop abruptly. Dust settles. From the inner hall, a faint metallic clang echoes, deliberate, singular. They freeze. Elena raises her torch, its flames struggling against the stagnant air. Nadira steps forward, voice low, but steady. Something moved beyond that arch. Jonas turns his camera toward the darkness, but the lens fogs instantly. Karim murmurs, The air, it's charged. Layla steps ahead, sweeping her flashlight. The beam catches a mural of a figure with wings spread wide, half human, half divine, Ereshkigal, queen of the underworld. Her painted eyes seem alive. This isn't mythology, Elena whispers. It's record? Behind them, the sound comes again. Closer, rhythmic, like footsteps in sand that hasn't been walked in 6,000 years. That night, the camp lies quiet beneath a bruised sky. Elena sits alone outside the tent, staring toward the pit. It's more than history, she says into Jonas' recorder. It's memory. In the distance, faint lights ripple beneath the sand, like auroras buried alive. Karim prays softly near the fire, words swallowed by the wind. Nadira records her own notes, her pen shaking. They are uncovering a machine of belief, she whispers. Layla, standing guard atop a dune, catches a glimmer from below, a shape moving within the sinkhole, slow, serpentine. She raises her binoculars. Nothing, just darkness breathing back. The storm that had been waiting all day begins to rise. Morning finds them beneath the earth again, torches casting restless halos on damp stone. The passage beyond the broken seal slopes downward, the air metallic, heavy with ions. Elena leads, Voice quiet but sure. We've moved below the map's foundation. None of this should exist. Karim follows, murmuring ancient lines, his breath visible despite the heat. Nadira documents each carving with measured precision, though her hand trembles with every flash. Jonas lingers behind, filming their silhouettes, each step echoing like a heartbeat through hollow chambers. Layla's boots crunch on black sand, rifle raised, her pulse sensing with the low hum rising from the walls. They round a curve, and there it stands, a vast stone door carved with reliefs of winged giants and mortals intertwined, their faces locked in eternal agony and worship. It pulses faintly, as though listening. Karim reads the inscription aloud, voice echoing through the chamber. "He who opens this gate shall unmake the breath of men." The words hang in the air like ash. Elena approaches, fingertips brushing the engraved wings. The stone thrums beneath her touch. "It's not a warning," she murmurs. "It's a mechanism." Nadira steps back, her face tightening. Jonas catches the faint vibration in his audio feed, a deep subsonic pulse that rises and falls like a chant. Layla scans the corners, unease in her eyes. Suddenly, a flare of blue light races across the reliefs, outlining faces, feathers, and hands as though electricity courses through ancient veins. The air thickens. The flame of Elena's torch elongates and bends sideways, drawn toward the door. Karim whispers. It breathes. The door opens not with sound, but with a shift in gravity, a sudden drop in pressure that steals their breath. Sand cascades from seams as a passage yawns inward, exhaling air stale with the scent of metal and resin. Torches flare, revealing a descending staircase of polished black stone. Symbols glimmer faintly along the walls, constellations no human eye has mapped. Karim gasps. These are not Sumerian. They are astronomical. Jonas lowers his camera in awe. Elena, voice hollow, says, "We're beneath history." Nadira grips her pendant unconsciously, whispering prayers in Arabic. Layla nods once, steadying herself. As they descend, a low resonance begins to hum through the stone. Deep, rhythmic, ancient. It feels like the pulse of the earth itself. They reach the lower hall, a cavernous chamber that stretches beyond the reach of their torches. Columns rise like petrified trees, etched with spirals that shimmer faintly when touched. In the center stands an altar of basalt, smooth as glass, ringed with 7 hollow basins. Each is filled not with dust, but with shimmering black liquid that ripples, though no air moves. Karim kneels beside one, mesmerized. "Mercury," he murmurs. "But how?" Elena interrupts, voice hushed. "Not mercury." "Something else?" Nadira takes readings, her instruments flicker, overwhelmed. Jonas records his breathing audible on tape. Layla circles the perimeter, alert. The camera pans upward, revealing carvings of beings descending from the sky. Stars falling into men. For the first time, even Elena looks afraid. The hum intensifies until it feels alive, resonating through bone. Karim cries out, clutching his chest, voice breaking. They're calling. The basins begin to vibrate, ripples turning to waves. Jonas backs away, camera shake. Nadira yells, "We have to go." But Elena steps closer to the altar, transfixed. "This is what they wanted us to find," she whispers. Layla grabs her arm, pulling her back as the liquid rises, forming shapes, outlines of figures that are neither shadow nor light. The forms flicker, their features lost in brilliance. A low voice reverberates through the hall, not in sound but in thought. "We were never gone." The torches extinguish at once, plunging them into pulsing blue darkness. A metallic drone vibrates through the crypt. Subtle at first, then swelling until it rattles the camera lenses. Jonas checks his equipment. No readings, only a steady spike of magnetic flux. "It's the whole chamber," Nadira says, voice shaking. "Something's generating a field." Karim touches a column. His compass spins wildly. Elena steadies him, noticing their breath shortening, each inhale thinner than the last. "We're losing oxygen." Layla orders retreat, but the tunnel behind them has partly collapsed. Sand streaming like smoke through cracks. The hum deepens, harmonizing with their pulses. For an instant, the carvings appear to move, not by spirit, but by light distortion and desperation. They ration air tanks from the gear cache. Jonas' voice trembles as he documents Day 3 underground. Possible methane pocket or electromagnetic anomaly. Elena checks the gauge, pressure falling. Karim insists the vibrations match the pattern of ancient hymns. Nadira argues it's resonance from shifting rock. Their voices overlap, echoing off wet stone until they sound like a crowd. Layla cuts them off sharply. "Focus. Upslope. Now." The tunnel groans, showering grit. For a heartbeat, all lights flicker out. In total darkness, someone whispers Elena's name. When torches flare again, no one claims it. They reach a vast atrium where the ceiling has fractured, exposing slivers of the desert sky far above. Sunlight filters down in thin, trembling columns, igniting clouds of mica dust that shimmer like constellations. Relief replaces fear, briefly. Then the noise starts again, deeper now, resonating from the altar below. Karim collapses to his knees, murmuring prayers. Nadira kneels beside him, checking his pulse. Elena's eyes trace the light pattern on the floor. It forms the same spiral as the seal above. "It's not random," she breathes. Jonas' camera overheats. The screen fills with static that pulses in sync with the vibration. Layla watches the beams tremble. "The structure's failing," she says. "We move, or we die here." They retrace their steps toward the main corridor, the hum now punctuated by deep thuds from shifting strata. Elena feels the ground tilt slightly beneath her boots. "Cave incoming!" Layla shouts. Nadira hauls Karim upright. Jonas slings his camera to help. The passage ahead narrows, sand trickling down like hourglass grains. Behind them, one of the mercury basins ruptures, spilling black liquid that hisses as it touches air. The fumes sting their throats. Panic fractures the team's discipline. Shouting, coughing, gasping. The last of the torches sputters. Through the gloom, the spiral symbol still glows faintly, as if guiding them upward. They reach the upper shaft as dawn breaks above ground. The first breath of open air tastes metallic, but it's life. Elena collapses onto the sand, staring at the rising sun through half-lidded eyes. Karim weeps quietly, hands trembling. Nadira seals her field book, saying nothing. Jonas aims his broken camera at the horizon, whispering, "Did we record any of it?" Layla checks the rope line. Everything below has caved in. Where the entrance once yawned, the desert is smooth again, wind erasing the last trace of their descent. Only a low vibration lingers in the soles of their feet, fading with the sunrise. By evening, the team has returned to the field camp. The desert wind hisses over canvas and steel. No one speaks. Elena sits apart, staring at her dirt-caked hands, still feeling the pulse of the buried chamber in her palms. Karim mutters fragments of Sumerian text, refusing food. Nadira types a preliminary report to Baghdad, omitting the anomaly. Jonas replays footage that shows nothing but static and his own breathing. Layla sharpens her knife in silence, eyes scanning the horizon. When Nadira finally says, "We should leave before nightfall," Elena looks up, voice raw. "No, we need proof." The others exchange glances. Somewhere beyond the dunes, a faint tremor rolls under the sand like a heartbeat returning to the earth. Sleep comes in fragments. The wind claws at the tents, Static creeps through the radio. Jonas hears whispering, only playback noise, he insists. But it carries patterns like speech. Kareem's fever worsens. He dreams aloud of the covenant broken. Elena listens, torn between compassion and obsession. He is dehydrated, Nadira says. But Elena shakes her head. He's remembering. Layla patrols the perimeter, flashlight cutting through dust storms. In its beam, the excavation pit is gone, replaced by untouched sand. She whispers into her mic, coordinates unchanged. But the land looks new. Static answers her. Morning brings argument. Elena demands they retrieve samples from the collapsed site. Nadira refuses. We've lost jurisdiction. The ministry will take over. Jonas sides with Elena. He needs evidence to justify the risk. Kareem, weak but lucid, whispers, "You will not find it again." Layla loads the truck, jaw clenched, tired of their obsession. The air between them thickens with mistrust. Nadira sends encrypted coordinates to headquarters. Elena intercepts the transmission, deletes it, and quietly harasses the backup drive. When Jonas confronts her, she meets his gaze coldly. History chooses who remembers it, she says. The wind outside rises, drowning out his reply. By nightfall, the team fractures. Kareem slips into delirium, muttering coordinates that match none on their maps. Layla insists on evacuation. Nadira backs her. Jonas hesitates, then chooses Elena. They drive toward the dunes, headlights carving through dust, ignoring Layla's shouts behind them. Nadira holds Kareem's hand as he fades, whispering prayers for mercy. The radio sputters once, catching Elena's voice. "We were so close." Static swallows it. Layla exhales, shoulders shaking, not from fear but from exhaustion. The desert hums again, faint but steady, as if echoing footsteps deep below. By dawn, the horizon is empty. The jeep lies half-buried, engines still warm, tracks leading nowhere. Layla and Nadira find Jonas's camera wedged in the sand, its final frame frozen on a swirl of light, an overexposure. Nothing more. Kareem is gone, his cot undisturbed. Elena's tent remains open, journal missing. The wind erases their footprints within minutes. Nadira closes her eyes, whispering, "Let the desert keep them." Layla turns toward the sun, face lined with fatigue. In Baghdad's archives weeks later, an unmarked package arrives. A small shard of black stone engraved with the spiral. No return address. 2 months later, Baghdad hums under a sun that turns its skyline to molten gold. In the Ministry of Antiquities, Dr. Nadira al-Karim stands before a panel of officials, her report neatly bound and stripped of everything extraordinary. "A structural collapse," she says evenly. "No remains recovered." Behind the glass wall, journalists whisper rumors of forbidden discoveries. Layla waits in the corridor, uniform immaculate, eyes hollow from sleepless nights. "You did what you had to," she says softly when Nadira exits. But her voice lacks conviction. Outside, a sandstorm rolls in from the south, the same wind that once covered the tomb. That night, Layla drives through empty streets toward the archive vault. She signs the register mechanically, retrieving the crate, labeled Ur 2028B. Inside, she finds fragments of stone, black as night, each carved with spiral markings. The curator warns her. Orders are to transfer these to a restricted collection. Layla nods, but her hand hesitates on the lid. She slips one fragment into her pocket before sealing the box. As she leaves, thunder rumbles over the city. The shard grows warm against her palm. She tells herself it's just the heat. At dawn, Nadira walks through the National Museum's restoration wing. The recovered artifacts from Ur sit under glass, catalogued, lifeless. Yet one display draws her attention. An unregistered tablet fragment, newly donated anonymously. Its inscription matches the missing expedition coordinates. Her breath catches. Elena's handwriting is carved faintly along the edge. For a long moment she just stands there, caught between grief and recognition. The museum's speakers hum faintly with feedback, echoing the same low frequency that once filled the tomb. She closes her eyes, whispering, "You still want to be found." News leaks within days. Whispers of the forbidden dig, photos of sealed crates, satellite shots of vanished dunes. The ministry denies everything. Nadira is reassigned to a remote archive in Mosul. Layla is placed on indefinite leave. Kareem's name disappears from records entirely. One evening, Layla visits Nadira before her transfer. They share coffee on the museum steps, silence stretching between them. "Do you believe they died down there?" Layla finally asks. Nadira looks toward the horizon where sand haze blurs the city's edge. "No," she says softly. "I believe they stayed." That night, Layla drives alone into the desert, following coordinates scribbled on a slip of paper. A copy of Kareem's last note. The storm has passed, leaving the sands smooth and pale beneath the moon. She stops the truck, steps out, and presses the shard into the ground. For a moment, the wind dies. The dunes whisper as though shifting beneath her feet, but nothing more. She exhales, relief mixed with sorrow. The desert gives no answer. When she drives away, the camera lingers, and under thin layers of sand, faint light pulses once, then fades forever. 10 years later, the wind still moves over southern Iraq, shaping dunes where no maps agree. Dr. Nadira Al-Karim walks alone across the barren plain. A survey expedition behind her, but no one near enough to hear. Her steps trace the old coordinates out of habit, not hope. The tomb is gone. The earth has healed. She kneels, brushing aside sand with gloved fingers, revealing only more sand. Her recorder clicks on. "Field note," she whispers. Nothing remains, but the air still feels listening. She stops, removes her gloves, presses her palm to the ground. "Maybe that's all history ever does," she murmurs. "Listen back." The desert answers only with wind. In a small museum room back in Baghdad, a visiting scholar reviews recovered footage from the lost 2028 expedition. The files are incomplete, frames corroded by time. Yet between bursts of static, a moment appears. Elena laughing at something off camera. Jonas framing a shot. Kareem translating. Layla half smiling in the background. Ordinary people, unaware of the legend I'd become. The scholar pauses the video, noticing the faint hum still embedded in the audio track. Not supernatural, merely interference, yet unsettling. She closes the file gently, writes, "Artifacts untraceable, coordinates inconclusive," and beneath it, almost as a confession, "Still listening." Night over the desert. A lone convoy moves through silence. Layla's old truck, now rusted and half-buried, flashes briefly in the headlights before disappearing behind a dune. Nadira watches from the passenger seat of a survey jeep, colleagues asleep beside her. She leans her head against the window, eyes half-closed. The stars shimmer above, like inscriptions carved into the sky. For a moment, the hum returns. Not from the ground, but from memory. She smiles faintly, almost peacefully, and whispers, "Sleep, then." The wind swallows her words. The jeep drives on, a single trail of light across a timeless sea of sand. In her final field report, dated the anniversary of the discovery, Nadira writes, "We found no tomb. Only absence. Perhaps that is its true design. to erase those who find it. She pauses, staring at the blank page. Her pen moves again, but sometimes, when wind rises, I think I hear them. The team, the sand shifting like their voices. She stops, draws a single spiral beneath her signature, and closes the notebook. Outside her tent, dawn spreads across the dunes, soft and unending. The final frame holds steady on the desert at sunrise. The camera pans slowly across empty sand where nothing marks what once was. A distant voice, Elena's old recording, fades in, her tone calm, curious, eternal. Every civilization buries something it cannot face. We just happen to dig in the right place. The sound dissolves into wind. The light grows brighter until it fills the frame, erasing every shadow, every trace of excavation. The story ends not with revelation, but with return, the desert reclaiming its silence as it always does.